I always thought it was not dangerous to live in the city. It's usually where all the crimes are, and sometimes, walking down a dark alley, you could easily get into trouble. And it's tough in megapolis. A lot of boring high-rise buildings, embittered people rushing home from work. It was these reasons that one day made me sell my apartment and look for some small house outside the city. I thought that moving would change my life for the better, but things didn't go according to plan. I found a suitable option very quickly. It was a 2-story house, 10 minutes from the city. It was standing in the middle of the forest, not far from the highway, and looked very beautiful. I was particularly impressed with the price. It was very low, compared to the other listings on the market. So I called the number without any hesitation. A young guy realtor picked up the phone. We quickly discussed all the details, and by the next weekend I happily went to see my future home. The road was boring, except for the winding grey ash plant and rows of tall pine trees. There was nothing, no houses, or parking lots, or gas stations. By the time I reached my destination, the sky had clouded over and it was raining heavily. It washed out the road to the cottage, but I still managed to pull into the lot. "Good afternoon. Good weather today. Let's get inside before we got you called." The realtor must have looked at the weather forecast beforehand and met me outside with an umbrella. After that, the two of us walked inside the house. The house was very nice. You could tell that the people who lived there appreciated cleanliness and had excellent taste. But it was not without any disadvantages. There were 2 completely empty rooms in the house, the children's room and the parents' bedroom on the second floor. The rooms smelled particularly strange and unpleasant. The wallpaper was peeled off and the parquet was swollen in some places, as if someone had spilled water and not whipped it up. I didn't pay attention to all these details at the time. Then we proceeded to the execution of all the documents. And before I knew it, I had spent the whole week in a new place. It is not known how the story would have ended if one day I did not come home from work earlier than usual. Once again, when I entered my house, I smelled the smell coming from the kitchen, like something fried. I looked around carefully and didn't see anything suspicious. I thought I had forgotten to open the windows and air the house after cooking breakfast. I was about to go to the second floor to take a shower and get ready for bed when I noticed a strange object, a grey video camera lying on the kitchen counter. The weird thing was, I hadn't seen it there yesterday, and it wasn't mine. But then, whose was it? The former owners had moved all their stuff out a long ago. There were a lot of questions and answers inside a small video camera, and I badly wanted to know where it came from. So I picked up the camera and I opened up the gallery, and what I saw, I still can get my head around. Recording 1, July 25th, 2022. The camera looked at the happily family having a picnic in the backyard of their home. The father of the family was grilling meat on the charcoal grill. Something was being shouted by a woman sitting not far away on a chair. Near them, a boy was playing with toys. It was hard to see people's faces and not hear what they were saying. The sun was shining brightly and the forest was green in the background. Yes, but all this picture made me feel uncomfortable. The reason for that was the heavy breathing of cameraman. Probably a family friend or something. When the camera jerked and a piece of wood accidentally came into the frame, it was as if the cameraman was hiding in the pine trees. Strange questions bumped into my head. After a while, I became convinced these people were the former owners of my cottage. At the moment when the man took the skewers with meat and went to Zhenya, the operator involuntarily jerked and the roof of my house fell into the lens. Recording 2. It was shot on the same day as in the first one, but late in the evening. The camera lurched from side to side, and breathing heavily, the cameraman ran to the back porch of the house, turned the knob, and quietly opened the door. He took a couple steps forward and turned in the night vision mode, and then I could see my kitchen. The man walked around the first floor and looked around. I didn't understand what he was doing, but I continued to watch the incomprehensible activity on the small screen. The operator studied the entire first floor and went up the stairs to the second floor. He walked quietly and slowly. At the top, he again examined every corner, and then came to the door where the children's room was. Turning the knob, operator quietly opened the door and entered the room. There were toys scattered on the floor, and the boy from the first video was sleeping on the crib from the first video. The man took a couple steps. Suddenly there was a quaking sound under his feet. The child did not wake up. After that, the cameraman went back to the exit. Then he went into the room of the parents of the baby, filmed sleeping people, and went out. Then he went on the stairs that led to the attic. He went upstairs and closed the door. The tape was interrupted. Gordon 3, July 28, 2022. This time, the man filmed through the attic window a large family vehicle car out of the garage. Once the car was gone, the cameraman quickly went down to the second floor. After a quick look around all the rooms, the uninvited guest went into the kitchen to the refrigerator. It was full of groceries, yogurt and sausage on the shelves, but the man took a large pot of soup for some reason. And then I noticed an interesting detail. The stranger took only open products, so that no one would notice the loss. I wondered if I had any food missing from my refrigerator. Absolutely not. I would have noticed. The man ate, put the camera on the countertop, opened the kitchen window, probably to get the cooking odor out, washed the dishes, and threw all the garbage in a dumpster outside. Nothing else of interesting happened. The man walked around the house, lay on the sofa in the living room, and watched TV. It was only in the evening, when he heard the silent car pull up to the house, that the man abruptly jerked up and ran back upstairs to the attic, and the video cuts out. I pressed recording 4 and quite soon regretted it. Recording 4, July 29, 2022. The man was still in the same attic. The cameraman carefully made his way downstairs. Everyone in the house was sound asleep. He walked to the kitchen. Walking over to the countertop, the psycho opened a cabinet and pulled out a huge carving knife, then went back upstairs. As the unknown man approached the nursery and quietly opened the door, I heard his voice for the first time. As he got closer and closer to the child, and holding the knife in his hand, the maniac began to hum some kind of creepy tune. He walked over to the boy and began stroking his head, slowly, bringing the knife to his face. The maniac sang the creepy tune louder and louder. In an instant, the killer covered the boy's mouth with his hand to stop from the screaming, and started stabbing the boy. In total, the operator inflicted about 25 blows, after which he calmly whipped the bloody knife in the backhand and went to the exit of the room. Similarly, he went to the parents' bedroom. The maniac opened the door, and in front of him was a tall man. It was the father of the family. For a few seconds there was an unsettling silence. The owner of the house wanted to say something, but the psychopath with the camera suddenly sharply hit the nail on the throat of the man. He instantly fell to his knees, released. The cameraman continued to shoot the victim in close-up as if nothing had happened. The woman woke up from the loud noise. As soon as she saw the maniac with a knife and her dying husband, she immediately screamed. The unknown man stood and hummed the same creepy tune, then swung again and drove a sharp blade into the man's neck. The mistress could not stand it and immediately jumped over bed and tried to run out of the room, but did not have time. The maniac hit her hard in the face. Then the camera shook. Nothing could be seen. When the interference on the screen went away and the maniac's hand leveled out, I could see what was left of the mistress. She was cut all over, but even with such serious wounds, the woman was still alive. What I saw made me feel nauseous and my heart began to race. The video was cut off. I clicked on the next video and picked up the Mick Cleaver. Recording 5, July 13, 2020. Breathing heavily, the cameraman stood behind a tree and filmed the same house that was already cordoned off by police officers. Probably one of the relatives decided to check on the family and quite by accident witnessed the brutal murder. The unidentified man stayed in the woods for a while, watched the police work, and then lowered the camera and the recording was interrupted. There was another file in the gallery, the last one this time. It helped me answer the big question. Where did the video camera come from in my kitchen? Gordon 6, August 10th, 2022. As soon as I saw the date, chills ran down my spine. That was the day I found this camera on my house. Yes, you heard me. I was watching the video taken today. There was a car coming out of the garage. My car. I was in a hurry to get to work, and all my attention was on my phone on the road. That's probably why I didn't notice the tree behind me, and a known assailant broke into the lot and then into the house. Inside, the man behaved like a master, walking around the floors, opened the cabinets with my personal belongings, and even looked into the refrigerator, which was not surprising. He grabbed a couple of groceries and made himself a small snack, and then sat quiet on the couch and watched TV. Maybe accidentally, maybe not, but the stranger left his video camera on the kitchen couch. The video was interrupted. Suddenly, from the second floor, and ran towards the woods. I quickly grabbed my phone and called the police while still holding the maniac's camera. Bastard was never found. The police searched the whole area. They even used dogs, but the killer got away. I was afraid of my own house, afraid that this psycho would come back again and kill me like he did to the owners. That's why I moved to a new place, back to the city. And you know what I realized? It's safer here than alone the cottage in the middle of the woods with someone else living with you.